Question 2. If I commit suicide as a believer, will I be forgiven?
This is not a quick answer one, and it's also one that I need to say a couple of things. Firstly, we as a church need to recognise that for some people life is tough. Life is really tough. And sometimes we're ashamed to admit how tough we're finding life. And I want us as a church to be a safe zone for people to be able to say, I am not coping. I am really struggling here. And right now, I think we just need to make a decision as a church. We're going to be that church. We need to understand that life itself requires God's grace. To be able to live life requires God's grace. And that grace, when times are tough, it says in 1 Peter 4:10 that God gives his grace through believers to believers. And this is frustrating because you'd think, well, why can't I just get it directly from God? And I think there's something about being in community, being in church, and having the humility to accept help from a brother and a sister that helps us to get through really, really tough times. And one of the things that Pastor Donna, who's going to be sharing next Sunday night, she's away in Melbourne at the moment, but next Sunday night, she's actually going to be sharing on some things in our monthly training. That there are some things you need to say, and there are some things you shouldn't ever say to someone who's in a tough place like this. So she'll talk more about this as well. So that's I just think it requires God's grace. We need to be the safe place as a church. There is something though, and about this, and that is that suicide, like any form of murder, actually is a sin. But here's the thing that I need you to hear that first, but secondly, I need you to hear this, that suicide is not the or even an unforgivable sin. It's not. And in some branches of the church, they teach that unless you've received Holy Communion, which has washed you of your sins and you've confessed your sins, if you haven't had that and you die without that having happened, you will take your sins with you into eternity and possibly be blocked from being forgiven by God or entering into heaven. That is not the gospel. That is not the gospel. You are not saved because you dealt with your sins. You are saved because Jesus dealt with your sins.
We hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a like. If you'd like to see more, hit the subscribe button. For more information about our church, head over to legana.org.